It's our honor to have you join us for NAF Next 2020 Virtual. Our theme is Connect, Unite, Breakthrough. And that's exactly what we hope this event is for you. We hope you connect. You'll have a chance to connect with the presenters on the platform and with your colleagues via social media. And unite. We are committed to continue to strive towards the unity that we so desperately need right now. Breakthrough. Our hope is that this event will be a breakthrough for you. Maybe it's just the discovery of one nugget of information about advisory boards or internships or work-based learning. Or it's a personal breakthrough where you feel a renewed sense of purpose and mission in our goal to prepare all of our students to be future ready. As we get started today, there are a few important pieces of information you need to know. First, stay connected to NAF Next 2020 Virtual through Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Just use the hashtag NAFNext20. On this platform, you'll also have the chance to chat with most of our presenters. So take advantage of that throughout the session and share ideas, questions, or even encouraging words. Each of the presenters has also provided resources, including their slide deck, with you. And you can access that right here. You don't have to wait until later, so feel free to download these resources and put them to use in your academy as you plan for the fall. Also, be sure to go to naf.org to see our latest resources. There will be a session evaluation for each session, and we'll provide that information at the end. Once again, thanks for joining us for this session. I believe you're going to find this next presenter incredibly helpful as they share their passion and insight with you. Enjoy.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Connect, Unite, Breakthrough session of NAF Next. We're going to discuss curriculum and some questions about curriculum today. And I will turn it over to Cassie.
Hi, I'm Cassie Young. I'm an Academy Development Manager here at NAF. And we're excited to bring you these updates of curriculum implementation for this year.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin English. I'm the Senior Director for Knowledge Management at NAF. And I'm excited to share with you updates on our curriculum and some of the things that are happening at NAF this year. And then at the end, we'll give you time for some questions. And one of the things we're going to do as we move today is to throw the ball. So I'm going to say, Cassie, catch.
Thanks, Kevin.
Excellent catch.
So our session objectives today will explore NAF curriculum, access, updates, implementation. Most of you are familiar with how to access curriculum, but there's been a few shifts to respond to COVID-19 and make that more public access. We want to just make sure you know where to find those today. I'm going to navigate digital learning strategies and resources that have been published since March 2020 when we all went into this digital learning world. We'll help you plan to implement CCRI in your classroom, discuss making a NAF course your own, and what that looks like so that your students get the most out of a NAF course and really hone in on their career academy theme and college career readiness in your area. We'll do an overview of partner and policy updates and finish up with questions about curriculum and implementation in the live chat. Kevin, right. Bob's coming back to you.
Oh, I got him. That was a wild throw, Cassie.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the NAF curriculum, and we're going to give you a little bit of an overview on the NAF curriculum. One of the things I want to talk about are the key components of the NAF curriculum. There are a few key components that make our curriculum a lot different than others. One is the fact that it's industry vetted. Industry takes a look at that curriculum, approves the competencies, and says, yes, these are the skills that we want from the students that you are teaching and sending to us for employment. So as you begin to look at NAF curriculum, keep that in mind, that it is industry vetted, and that is a huge piece of our NAF curriculum. The other thing to keep in mind is the culminating project. The culminating project, in our view, is that application of the skills the student has learned. And this is the performance assessment that shows us that the student grasped the concepts that have been taught in that course. That is another key piece and a key component. If you were to teach the NAF curriculum and leave that out, that would leave the students in a huge void. So make sure that as you are looking at the NAF curriculum, that you include that culminating project and that application of the skills and competencies. Another piece that's important to us is the work-based learning piece. And as things develop in education, work-based learning is at the top of a lot of minds. please include the work-based learning and try to record those experiences as your students do them throughout the curriculum. The next piece are some of the NAF curriculum resources. As you open a NAF curriculum course, and we have 31 of those, you will find that all the collateral and the materials you need is there. From the handouts to the teacher handouts to the teacher lesson planning, and then the student handouts, the PowerPoints, all of those materials are included. There's also a great deal of materials that you can use for planning with your district, like the scope and sequence and some of the crosswalks that are there that are very helpful. So we want to make sure that you know that those resources are there. We also can help provide professional development and be a resource for you as well as you're having discussions with your teachers in districts. The NAF educational design is really important to us as well. And as you take a look at what NAF stands for, the key pieces of this design are work-based learning, the culminating project, the curriculum, and the internship as a culminating piece of that work-based learning. Those are key tenets for our educational design. And as we hand you curriculum and materials, we tell you to brand it, use it as your own, but please keep that educational design intact, because we know that's what makes difference to our students and to their achievement rates. The next thing I'll mention is the program of study. The program of study is something we started about 1.5 to 2 years ago. And this is where teachers that are teaching a curriculum similar to ours, but are mandated by a district or state to teach this particular curriculum. And they would come to us and say, well, how can I do both? I can't fit it all in. And our answer was program of study. If your course is very similar and you want to submit it for program of study, there are a couple of requirements. One of those is that it is on a state vetted list of approved courses. We are not going to look at each individual's course, and we're not going to approve it unless it's been vetted by the state. So please keep that in mind, that it needs to be vetted and reviewed by your state and on the state list. The dual enrollment is another thing that we want to talk about, and that's the articulation credit. We like that we can link up with you on your community college courses and give students credit for that as well. Key piece there is to make sure that you submit that in the NAF track system, and that the very important piece is that it is tied to the academy theme. We accept courses that are tied to the academy theme. So for example, in engineering, if it was a mechanical engineering course, we would approve it. But if you submitted history, we're not going to approve it for mechanical engineering because it's not theme related. That's a general studies course. So please keep in mind as you're submitting for dual enrollment, they need to be tied to the academy theme. The next piece I want to mention is the NAF Learning Handbook. We have revised the NAF Learning Handbook, and the key piece of information for you there is it discusses the 24 strategies for teaching the NAF curriculum, and they are in that handbook and detailed so that if you've never used that method before, this is a very good guide on how to do so. So on the screen, you'll see what the NAF Curriculum Library looks like. One of the things I will mention to you is that the NAF courses are in the NAF Curriculum Library, and that we've also opened them up because of COVID-19 to anyone who wants to use them. So this is a key point for you who might have faculty members that want to use this, or people in other schools that you work with. Share it. We've opened it up for a short period of time in COVID-19 because we know that schools are looking for great curriculum, and we've offered this so that you can help them fill that void. So we ask that you please share that message. There are a couple of other things that I'll mention about the NAF Curriculum Library. We have updated and refreshed many of the courses, and all of the files in the NAF Curriculum Library have been updated. We have removed dates from the NAF Curriculum Library, and we're just continue to update files. The other key piece to look for is coming soon We are working with some of the schools in Puerto Rico, and we're translating some of our curriculum from English to Spanish, and you will see a Spanish version of Principles of Technology coming soon to the NAF Curriculum Library. So if you take a look at the NAF Curriculum Library, this is what it looks like in the Academy Support Hub. What's nice about this is all the collateral, like we mentioned, is there. You can also see that if you have questions about it, you can email us at curriculum@naf.org. All the course files are here. There are two ways to download our courses. One is by an all course files zip file, which is the quickest way. But if you do it through the other way, through the PDF and individual files, you'll get much more of the content. So the zip files is a quick way, but if you're looking for all the detailed files, upload them individually. So the next piece is tools and resources. On the tools and resources, you can see that they are there in zip files. They're also there highlighted in orange. So some of the things that I mentioned that are here are like the scope and sequence, the overview of the project, a semester planning table, the PDF of the whole course. That's the one that has all of the materials. I would download that. We encourage you to download it. We encourage you to take the documents and to put your school logo on it, to put your name on it. We know that if you own this curriculum and you work with your students and they know that you own it, they will take it much more seriously than if they were just thinking it was a handout you were sharing from another set of materials. If you put your school logo on it, then they know. If you put the Academy of Finance from your high school on it, they know that it is yours. The NAF Track Certification Guide is also there, and the key learning objectives are also there. That's important if you're going to use the NAF assessment. We'll talk more about NAF assessments and our plans for those in a bit, but if you are going to use them and you are required by your district, we don't have a copy of the test to share with you. You need to look at these learning objectives so that you know what's going to be on those assessments. So we have refreshed, as I mentioned a little bit ago, many of our courses. In Academy of Finance, you'll see the list there. AOIT, you'll see the list there. And we've also refreshed some courses in AOHT and AOHS. We do not offer the courses in engineering. You use a third party for that. But these courses we have up here have been refreshed since 2016 because we know some of those files need to be updated. Some of the resources were old and need to be updated. And we brought together a curriculum refresh team to complete those refreshes. In the future, we're going to hold a refresh, but that refresh will be on all courses and specifically targeted to the assessments. We want to go in and update those assessments and take a look at it. And we're also going to change the way we administer those assessments. We will provide those to you, and you can administer them through your system as we move forward. And Cassie, I'm now going to toss it to you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Perfect catch.
So open curriculum and resources. Since COVID-19 has happened, we know that teachers and staff, college and career readiness personnel are looking for open curriculum, open resources that can really engage the student in a digital environment at home. So as we've said, the curriculum is now open source. You can direct anyone in your faculty, other schools, any of those college and career readiness circles to the NAF curriculum and source that to students as you need. As commonly practiced, this can be uploaded to Google Classroom, in Google Docs. Students can access this from multiple points, as discussed from those different download options you have inside the curriculum library. Access to selected curriculum resources in response to COVID-19 are found here. So the open source resources in response to COVID-19 are really just digital items that your students can walk themselves through on their own. It's a lot of online research for their own college and career path. Many of these are theme neutral, so you can use them for any themed academy, Your coworkers outside of academies can use them also to help students on that college and career journey. You'll see some TED Talks that will engage students, some current events, Black Lives Matter teaching resources as well, and involving students in movements that are going on currently in our world. We want to make sure that we address those with students in their industry, outside of their industry, and just make them as accessible as possible. Additionally, you'll see resources for virtual internships. We know that internships are a challenge and their focus has shifted definitely in this time of COVID-19 and not being able to be in employers' offices or be an in-person experience. So these are developed by cross-curricular teams across the NAF organization in a way that will help you rethink that internship and engage partners in a virtual manner. Finally, on this page, you will find different archived resources that are tied to theme that will help you think through some of those theme-related or industry-related items that you want your students to come back into your classrooms in the fall, whether that be in person or digitally, and just help them brush up on their skills and keep that industry focus in mind as we go through this digital time. So all of these resources that we just reviewed are designed to be easily pulled into your digital learning platforms, whether that's Canvas or Google Classroom. They can be used in Zoom formats. Really make these your own, like any other resource in the curriculum library, so that they fit your students' needs and community needs the best. Many are student-driven and student-directed. Again, change those to engage your students how you see fit. Put your own logos on them, put industries in them specifically that your academy works with, or highlight maybe your advisory board in some of those research activities to keep the theme present as they research. Resources include daily lesson plans, sample projects. We know that projects may look different or students may have missed out on those in spring semester, but again, we think those are a critical part of success in your academy and a success in learning for students, even in this time. And so there's some resources there to help you rethink not only the internship, but a project in a digital environment and including all students in that in a meaningful way. One digital resource that is available in the NAF Curriculum Library is CCRI. CCRI stands for the NAF College and Career Readiness Index. It is a set of 54 lessons that are meant to engage students throughout grades 9 through 12. It's not a course, meaning you don't have to teach all of these lessons. You don't need to teach them in order, but really going through these and identifying ones that fit your students' needs, your college and career readiness goals for your academy the best is really how to engage with these. We encourage you to engage business partners, post-secondary connections. You know, some academies have used these to host a fireside chat digitally that their students can Zoom into, or partners have come in and done virtual guest speaking. All of that can be adapted into the virtual environment that we're currently learning in. We encourage you, again, to make these fit your team, your students, and a personal plan. There are resources, the semester planning guide is there, the scope and sequence, to really help your team identify the objectives for learning and then plan out that implementation in a meaningful way. Again, these are supposed to be implemented over the high school experience. They're divided into awareness, exploration, and preparation sections with guidelines per grade level, although any lesson can be implemented and adjusted for any student in their academy experience. Some essentials of implementation of CCRI is cross-curricular instruction, college and career readiness skills that tie not only to the college and career readiness standards of NAF, but also the internship assessment. You'll see stated learning objectives, work-based learning connections, student-teacher resources, and also updates for students in NAF Track certification. These lessons do not count as a course toward NAF Track certification, but they do walk students through that process, helping them understand what is needed for certification and also updating different items within their certification path. Skill development in CCRI is targeted and broken down into 4 fundamental items, including foundational skills, applied workforce skills, professional development, and knowledge of career. Again, these lessons are not theme specific and meant to be integrated across any academy or academy theme. Again, they're a great resource to share with teachers outside of academy frameworks that maybe are in your building as well and looking for items for their students to really stay on top of their career readiness understanding or their post-secondary aspirations during this time. Integration is key as we move forward with CCRI and with NAF curriculum. So you will find in resources for both CCRI and NAF curriculum that there are integrated enrichment items. They're team teaching focused. We encourage you to include your core staff, counselors, administrators, advisory board members, any other stakeholders that you think are key to your students' success. This engages them not only in a work-based learning environment, but also takes their understanding of their coursework and really connects it to the post-secondary experience for them, and that can highlight whatever that student is planning on doing. So not only highlighting their college pathway, but other post-secondary pathways in training programs, in adult CTE, and really just kind of opening that door so that they understand all pathways to their chosen career. Kevin, the ball is coming back to you.
Oh, man, you're throwing it harder every time, Cassie. All right. So making a NAF course your own. So we want to talk about what NAF means in your particular situation at school. When you take a NAF course, we want you to own it and we want your students to own it. And we want that to happen because it increases the relevance for your students. If they own it and they know that you own it and it has examples from your business and industry and it has slides that have students from your former classes in it and they see their school in action, they get much more excited about continuing that work. We also need to target the needs of our students. So we have students at all different levels, at all different places in our classroom. They all come in with a whole different mindset. We need to target to those needs. Where are they at now? Where are they at skill level? And where are they at in their knowledge base? And what is it that they need to be successful? So assessments, self-assessment, performance assessments are critical for that. You may be required to do curriculum that is so completely from your local area or your state area, or you have mandates that are put out by your district, and we need to help you figure out how to do that. To improve the usability, we have a lot of our teachers who have taken this curriculum and put it on Google Docs because they want to share it with their students and have a better way to do that. We've also, in the last year, put 3 of our courses on the Canvas LMS, and those are available to you if you use Canvas. We are also using Canvas for our intern NAF Career Readiness program, and so we have the ability to share Canvas with you. And then to adjust to their teaching and learning style. As you can tell, Cassie and I have a very overt learning style by throwing things and making things happen in our classroom. You may do the same. And we know that every teacher is different, and we want them to adjust to their learning style and make the learning fun for students. So we encourage you to modify the NAF course to fit these things and to help make the learning come alive for your students. Some creative ways that folks have made the NAF course their own. They center the project around community needs. So we have an example of a teacher who has her students do a cancer fundraiser for breast cancer, and they call that the Dig Pink Volleyball Tournament. And they've centered that project, and they do that project in their classroom as they're doing the NAF curriculum. And that's one way that they're very successful, and it gets the students very pumped up to do this for their community, and the community becomes involved. Another way is to incorporate your CTSO, career and technical student organizations. We have teachers that use DECA, FBLA, Skills USA, HOSA, and others, and they use those competitions as part of their projects, or the leadership events as part of their culminating project. We encourage that. Why have your students do twice the work? And if they were to incorporate their papers into your culminating project, then they're getting practice when they go to do these events. And we've had a lot of students that are NAF students successful at the national level in all of these organizations because they are actually practicing as they go all year long because they're using it in their NAF curriculum. Another successful is by placing those lessons on a piece of technology like the cloud in Google Docs or in Canvas or other LMSs, or some folks are now, because of COVID, putting on Google Classroom. So there are some opportunities out there for you to ask and get maybe some of those materials from other teachers. By branding these materials to their classrooms with NAF and NAF track partner materials. So have that NAF brand all over your classroom. Have your logo all over the NAF materials. And one of the things that I've seen very successful is in the PowerPoints, a teacher will give that to a student and say, take out these general pictures and put pictures of our classroom and our students and our businesses in these. And then when you teach it the next time, you have that updated material that reflects your NAF Academy. Put your NAF track logos from your partners in your classroom and on these materials. That way they know that those partners are working with your academy. Advisory board members, use them. Bring them into the classroom. Have them grade the projects. Have them conduct the interviews. NAF Academy is an awful lot of work. And if you were to take the burden on all by yourself as one teacher and do all of this, you'd be wore out in the next 20 minutes. What we want you to do is to spread that wealth and get other people involved to help you. The advisory board members are a great pool of folks to do a lot of this work, and we've seen it successful across the country. Lots of interview days are arranged and organized by business partners, and the academy just brings their students and shows up in them a professional dress, and it's a great day for their students. The other piece is to share that curriculum. We have industry vetted, but if your advisory boards actually look at it and say, let's tweak this or let's add this because it's important to our local community, that brings credibility to the curriculum as well. And again, mentioning that adding photos to your students, teachers, and businesses, and NAF's marketing department will even make a logo for your specific academy if you ask. Other ways are integrated projects with subject areas. So this is a key piece. We are told oftentimes that academy can't get general teachers involved because those general teachers have so much to teach and they're not interested. But if you can show them how they can teach their outcomes through this project integration, then they're all in. They love it, the fact that they can teach it in a new and exciting way. It's important, though, that it's not just thrown on them, that it becomes an activity that you all work together on. And that's a great idea for incorporating the subject areas. Present and share the lessons and strategies and projects. You do professional development. You're asked by your districts to do it for your other fellow teachers. Why not share some of these lessons, strategies, and projects in those professional development sessions? It's a great way to spread the word. It's a great way to get people involved in your classrooms. Student ownership and engagement. The whole key to this is that the students own their projects, that they are the ones that are doing the work. It becomes their signature, if you will, in your academy. So creating that student ownership is critical. The one thing I'll mention is this. As teachers, we love to save our students. We're here because we got the biggest hearts of anybody. But as we've learned, if you let the student fail, That's how they're going to learn. If you save them just before they do, they're going to learn that you'll save them. But if you let them, if they're doing a project and they were supposed to get the spaghetti for the spaghetti dinner, well, if it doesn't show up, there's no dinner. But if you go get the spaghetti, they're going to know you're going to save them. So put the pressure, put the ownership on the students. Let them make that happen. Advisory board ownership of the curriculum, as we mentioned, is critical. Have them vet it, have them own it, have them share it. Again, that ownership is critical at all levels. Create projects that are school and community wide. These projects, like the Dig Pink project and others, are community wide projects. They happen every year now because they're expected to happen, and there's a whole process that happens. And as that happens, your work as a teacher gets less and less because more people take on responsibility. And again, brand those handouts, make that your own, make sure your logo's all over it, because that gives ownership to what we do. Partner connections. So let's talk about partner connections. In ACTE, which is the Association for Career and Technical Education for the nation, represents all of the career and technical educators in the nation. There is a Career Academies section. It is specifically for professional development for folks in career academies. We're mentioning it because we're working with other organizations to really beef up the content for career academies and to give you another opportunity for professional development. So please consider looking at ACTE and what the Career Academy section can do for you. Another partner we've worked a lot with in the last year is NIFTY, and we'd like you to look at their materials. They're also in the program of study. We've also vetted them so you can use them. And NIFTY does a lot of the finance curriculum and very similar to us, and is a very close thought partner with us. So please look at the NIFTY materials. SAP is another one of our partners that in the last year has developed something called sci-fi thinking. And there is a workbook that's been published and in draft form from Gregory Dietz of SAP. And that material will be available to you, and we'll be putting it on our site soon so that you can use it to do some teaching and some creative ways to use science fiction as maybe a way to introduce your projects, introduce some timelines and some planning. So we wanted to mention those to you because those things are coming soon or hot off the press.
I'll add to this slide, with the partner connections, we really encourage you also to make those localized. So take a look at these resources and really find ways to fit them into your specific academy and your specific location. Again, they are all customizable in the fact that you can plug them in with your business partners. But it's a really great way to reach out to your partners, engage your advisory board with items that are more corporate facing in the way that they're presented, and can really help them see the value of your career academy and connecting with students on a more class level basis.
This is the last one. So Cassie and I will hand this back to you. We're going to answer some questions after this session. We'd be happy to have these conversations with you and talk about how you need to use or want to use the NAF curriculum, what other resources are there, share with you some of the ideas that other academies have. We very excited that you had this time to share with us, and you could see a little bit about what we have to offer. Cassie?
We also hope this conversation continues throughout the school year. We know that meaningful connections and true integration and great ideas are born from when teachers talk to teachers, directors talk to directors. And so we really encourage you to seek those connections through your portfolio managers, through the NAF Educator Facebook page, all of that, just so these conversations can go beyond our virtual NAF Next this year and really impact students in the 2021 school year that is to come. Thanks for joining us today, and we're excited to engage with you in the live chat now.
All right, and goodbye. Woohoo! Well, welcome to the NAF Next question and answer session. We are excited to be here. we're going to be looking at the questions in the chat, and we had just a couple of things that came up early. So we'll ask Cassie to take a look, and Cassie, get ready to catch Bob. It's coming to you.
Thanks, Kevin. So thank you for your engagement in the chat so far. And we had some great comments and questions we'll just dive into now. The first comment we saw was about integrating math, especially because that's connected to so many STEM careers, and so many of our academy themes revolve around STEM careers and getting students into that practice. And we think it's a great suggestion of integrating math in an applied way in your academy classes for your students. And just remind you about the resources out there to help you plan those engagements. So using the semester planning guide in each of the NAF courses is a great tool to really help your team sit down and integrate those cross-curricular items in a meaningful way. And so you could target a STEM work-based learning experience or a specific project and really work through the specific details, the content that you need, the teachers involved, and the standards you'll cover in that. And so we really encourage you to dig into those resources that were highlighted in our session recording to make those integrations and cross-curricular items a little more intentional as we go into the school year.
All right, our next question is, can we participate in curriculum updates? Yes, you can. And as we are developing, because everybody else is adjusting to COVID-19, so are we. We are also poising ourselves to see what the school year looks like and to see what travel looks like and all of those good things. So when we have a curriculum update plan for this year, we will get to our portfolio managers and they will put out those requests. We're not scheduled yet because we're still in that flux of what this all looks like for everybody. And we want to do the best we can to make it work. It may also be, if we're not in a mode to have people meet us like we've done in the past, it'll be a virtual interface. So we'll take a look at that. We did have plans for one at this NAF Next that we were going to meet in person, but that has changed. So we're going to continue to look at what that might look like. So I hope that answers that question. It's a yes, but again, we're just trying to focus on what happens with this school year. Question 2. Student resources. I'll let you handle that one, Kathy.
Okay, so there are a lot of student resources out there, as you mentioned in your question and comment. Are they new? Some of them are new, some of them aren't. But what we suggest, the best way to find what fits for your needs is really just digging in before the school year starts. So as you're planning, starting with that scope and sequence, identifying the objectives that you want your students to focus on during that course, and then tying that into planning with the planning tools that are there. Lots of resources for each NAF course. Those are going to be standard, including our CCRI lessons. They're there as well. So dig in, reach out if you have any questions or comments. Again, you can adjust those to be what your team needs, add columns for your own planning, your own state standards, whatever you need, but use them as a template and a tool.
Okay. Next question I saw is, can courses be placed on Canvas? So the courses we have on the Canvas platform now were put there because they were working on projects and supported by grants. There's an awful lot of work that goes into putting our courses on Canvas. We don't have any plans to add additional courses other than the ones we're currently working on that are there. But we do have some teachers that may have put their courses on Canvas, and we'd be happy to share those through Canvas Commons. If you have any of those materials you want to share, we can share those through Commons for you. Again, it really depends on time and resources, and we use grant money to do those first few courses. We are working on our internship prep course and looking at whether Canvas may be the platform for that as well. But our CCRI is on there, event planning is on there, and principles of technology are currently on the Canvas platform.
Yep. That kind of leads to question 4. So are there any plans for developing a new course on leadership? Not specifically a course, but leadership is integrated throughout the development of the internship prep course. And so kind of integrating that in a way that will prepare students for internships and employer engagements along the way.
We will be working on the internship prep course, and we are working on it currently through the summer. and we'll be piloting it in the fall, and it will be available to everyone in January. So that is the plan for that course, and that the materials will be available to you.
So question 5, what is the web address for the open source curriculum? If you just go to naf.org, there is an orange banner at the very top that says click here for important COVID-19 updates from NAF. That will lead you to the open source resources, current event resources, and open source curriculum.
We had a question on the CCRI and whether it's compatible with other places like Naviance and other platforms. You're welcome to use it whichever way you would like to use it. We made it so it was adaptable. You can use it and take pieces of it and combine it with your Naviance. You can put it on your platform. You can customize it with your logos. We put it out there for you, so you're welcome to do whatever you need to do to adapt it to your students.
So question 7, are there ePortfolio template recommendations that have been used for virtual internships or students to record their experience in a virtual internship? So we do have some of those resources. Kevin, about their availability, do you want to speak to that?
Well, we do have some resources. We have a lot of our students that are working in our NAF Career Readiness experience currently using Google and Google Drive to store a lot of their materials and create that. So that's been the most successful for us in the Eportfolio. And I would say that would probably be the easiest that would be used for you and access now through this COVID virtual world.
Again, with the internship prep course and Eportfolio, to showcase their work through artifacts is a key component of that. And so that will come around again as we develop that course and it becomes available to schools. Specific platforms, though, we encourage you to use whatever works best for your students, your school, their technology access. But we have seen that Google Drive has been the most widely used with our students so far.
And we'll just briefly mention the virtual internship. So we're piloting a career readiness experience for a few districts right now to test virtual internships. We'll have that material available after we finish our next session, which is after August. We'll begin to share some of those materials out. If you are in that space and you need some materials now, just email Cassie or I through chat and we can share materials. We're happy to do so.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking through questions.
Cassie, there's one on elaborate the alternative to the final assessment.
Yes. So in respect to the final course assessments, if that is what we're hitting on, if not, you can kind of redirect in chat. But that depends on your course you're using for your program of study. And so if it is a NAF authored course, those requirements have been adjusted a little bit for the COVID-19 year and our school year. So back in May, credit was granted to students in all NAF courses that were input by May 15th. They did not have to complete that end of course assessment as usual. If you're using a program of study course that's typically a C or better, in a CTE course that's state approved or dual enrollment course, an AP, IB course, any of those approved courses, credit was also granted, even though that there is not a traditional end of course assessment that NAF authors for that. Going into the school year as we move into 2021, that communication will go out through portfolio managers as we get into the fall and what those end of course assessments or course adjustments might look like for the upcoming school year as well.
Next question, in event schools have to open online, are there recommended online platforms for web design, graphic design, computer maintenance and working? That's been a challenge. Absolutely, we know it's been a challenge. We are working with a couple of our partners. One thing I'll mention is the Cap1 AI bot program that you could use, and that's available online, and that might be a great resource for you. That's one of our partners' projects that can be used. We are also trying to work with a few of the other partners to get their materials up online. Just keep checking on the online resources as we get new materials and new ideas. We will be putting those up. One of the other ideas that I would suggest is taking some of our web design and graphic design materials and putting them on Google Docs and sharing them with students. That's been another successful way for our teachers that have been adapting to the online. And we've been getting a lot of positive comments about that as well, because they find that they can attach those and also the PowerPoints. And so you can put those on the Google Docs and share it. That may be the way. One of the areas that's been struggling is engineering and some of those ones where they're hands-on materials. And again, the web design, graphic design, we've also had teachers tell us, well, our students' technology at home isn't capable of doing some of the work we want, or some of our students are working on their phones. So we'll keep updating. Those are some of our best ideas at the moment.
So our next question, when we identify information that is not relevant any longer, whose attention should we bring that to?
Bring it to me.
Yes. So Kevin's email is in the chat, kenglish@naf.org, and just specify the curriculum, the course, and items that aren't relevant in that.
Any options for opportunities for curriculum for middle school students as a pre-development for high school? Our best suggestion at this time is to take the CCRI, the College and Career Readiness Index that we've got. Some of those materials that are developed for the awareness, 9th grade, could be moved down into the lower levels, the elementary levels. And so that's one of our best suggestions, to take that material and adapt it for that grade level.
I think just kind of tag on to that, some specific suggestions there within the awareness, lesson 8, where students make a career collage would be really accessible for middle school students and pretty interactive, easily adaptable for them. And then also lesson 4 on their online research of their career pathway would be pretty accessible for middle school students as well.
And another idea is after you teach that to your 9th graders, is to have them actually teach it to the junior high students. So if you're on a virtual situation and you're looking for a project for your students to do, have them develop that lesson and then present it virtually to your students at the elementary schools or elementary junior high level. So that's an opportunity to get your students a little more involved and for them to really, we know as teachers, when you teach something, you learn it a whole lot better. So this may be an opportunity to jump in and help that one. Internship prep course available. So we are going to be looking at the fall for a pilot that we're going to be running with a few school districts, and it will be available to you January 1st of what year are we in? We're in 2020, so it'll be 2021.
Yeah. Any other?
Yeah, and I don't see a lot of other questions, but if you got them, keep them coming. And again, if you see something in the curriculum you would like fixed, changed, or is not relevant to today's world, send that information to me. Curriculum is my area to give you just a couple of updates as we're finishing up. We are working on the internship prep course. We're working on the NAF Career Readiness Experience, which is a virtual internship. We are also looking at what we can put online for you to give you tips and tricks. There's also the Facebook page that's available to NAF educators now. We encourage you to look at that, because one of the things we found too that's a strength is teachers sharing their ideas with other teachers. So get involved in that community. That would be another great way to stay current on what's happening. We are available, it seems like 24/7 in this COVID world. So you can bring those questions to us after this session as well. And as you've got our email and our phone number in the chat, and we're happy to look at that. And as the new year comes and COVID gets a little more defined on what schools are going to look like, we are going to be putting out more resources to try to help. We're kind of in that stage of what does this look like. We're getting the ideas from our schools now that they're going to be hybrids, half online, half in person, those kinds of things, and trying to develop resources that will help you with that.
So
go ahead, Cassie.
So for the open resources, I will walk you through. Tech question: can I share my screen? Can I do that?
Try.
Okay. So
I don't see it. Oh, I see something happening.
You can walk.
There you go. Look at that. Perfect, Cassie. Way to use technology.
Thanks. So when you go to naf.org, just clicking the important COVID-19 updates banner at the top, and then you will see a variety of frequently asked questions here in drop-down menu. But the resources are going to be under resources for remote teaching and learning, and then you navigate to get resources. This will then open up some featured resources. These are updated frequently by our resource management teams. We have some summer items there. We have some response to virtual internship opportunities and some resources there. And then work-based learning, project ideas, and then it breaks into more specific resources per theme. So that is all live, updated, open source. We didn't log in to naf.org for that. And so feel free to share that with any of your teachers at your schools that may not be in your academies directly, but could benefit from some of those items as well.
And we're going to keep all this open as the COVID goes, and we will eventually be pulling some of the curriculum materials back that are ones that we've had for many years, but we want to make sure that the world has got access to them if they need them at this point. So you're happy to share anything that we have with other teachers, staff, and folks you know. Okay. It looks like we don't have any other questions. And I'm just checking to see how much time we have left to make sure we're good to go. Cassie, any kind of closing comments or ideas or thoughts of what's happening out there in the world that we can help with?
No, really reach to us if you have questions or concerns about items there, or if your school is doing something that's really cool with resources that you've adapted, we'd love to hear about those as well. And I know a few of those have come in throughout the summer for virtual internships and plans for the school year. So just kind of diving into that, and I will throw Bob back to you for official closeout.
Whoa, man, tough throw, Cassie. Good job. You got an arm. You must watch those Kansas City Royals.
I do.
All right. So we're happy to answer any questions. We're happy to share ideas as we get a little bit more concrete on our plans for curriculum updates and what the school year is going to look like. We'll keep sharing that information through our portfolio managers and on the websites. But again, we're direct contacts. You have our direct contact information. We're happy to help and share the ideas that we can. I know that we've been fielding ideas all summer from teachers. And then if you have specific ideas or things that you think are going to be needed within this COVID, one of the questions that we've got is, are you going to have sessions for professional development that can help us that are virtual, like how to run classes online and those types of things? And yes, we have some of those things in the plan. So if there's something that you don't feel like you're getting from your districts because they're crazy trying to figure out life as well, and you want a professional development, send us those ideas. We'd be happy to take a run at them. And we are looking at trying to do something one per month for the next few months. We've been working on topics, so we'd be happy to take some of those topic ideas from you as well. And that's how this works. It's a network. So share those ideas with us, and we will continue to develop and continue to bring things to you the best we can. There's been some chat about Cisco, and do we want to comment on Cisco? Do you see the chat that I've been going on? I have not.
I don't see any.
But we are as partner with Cisco. We're happy to share some of their materials as well. let me know what it is you're specifically looking for, and I can reach to those folks if you are having questions about Cisco. We've been having some great response from our partners as well. So they're trying to do the best they can with what's going on out there in the world. So we'll share materials with them that you get. And somebody has put up the virtual course for computer networking. And again, remember, that's program of study, and you can use that course. So if you're using that stuff, we're happy to help and assist. Okay, and that was shared on chat. All right. Well, I think, Elizabeth, are we 3 minutes? We've got 3 minutes to go. Are there any additional questions that you have? We don't want to leave anybody hanging. If you've got something out there that you think needs a good answer to it, we are happy to field those questions. And I'm digging through my brain to see if there's anything that I can update you on that we have not already. Okay, very good. Well, somebody said, I like the idea of connecting with monthly presentations. That's our goal. We will be looking at that ahead of and professional development in that format. And we know too that you're overloaded with everything coming at you. So we don't want to be one of those. We want to be a resource to you. We want to be ones that you go to, and we deliver quality content at least one time a month for you. And it's relevant and it pertains to the time. And then we'll give best practices as well for some of the teachers that have been doing some of this online work and finding things that are working for them.
Distance question, will there be a distance learning session?
Yes, that's a great question. And yes, that's one of our top topics. Cassie and I have been working in the distance learning for the last month with a group of students in our pilot, and we'll share some of the insights we've learned from that and some of the tips and tricks to keep the students engaged. And we would be happy to share those tips and tricks. And then we have a few teachers out there in the network that are getting really good at this, so we'll ask them to join us in that session. The PowerPoint is shared in the resources here at the NAF Next session, is correct? So you can get it there.
1 minute. And can you confirm the updates or changes to end of course assessments? So end of course assessment updates and changes for the 2021 school year, those will be communicated shortly. But for the 2020 seniors and the 2020 school year, those assessments, they were granted credit because of COVID in NAF track, and that should show for your students already. You will see they won't have an end of course assessment grade like if they took it, but it will indicate that they have credit with an asterisk by it, and that indicates that it was part of the COVID credit approval. So we encourage you to look through your NAF track under your students that were in your courses last semester for spring semester or quarters 3 and 4, and make sure that that went through correctly. If not, you can ask your portfolio manager for tech help with that, and we can connect you to whoever might be able to fix it.
And on the next year, we're still looking at what's going to happen with the school year before we make those recommendations. All right. I think we can close this out. We appreciate you attending our session. We appreciate what you do. We know that you're working hard in these times, and we really appreciate what you do for kids. So thank you so much, and let us know how we can help you. And with that, Cassie, I'm throwing Bob back your way, and we're going to say goodbye and have a great day. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for joining us today. Before you leave, a few quick things. The session evaluation and code are available right now on this platform. Please take a minute to give us your important feedback. It assists us in future conferences, and it will also help you in getting CEUs. Speaking of CEUs, if you're interested in getting those, for the sessions that you attended, that information will be provided to you as well. Don't forget to download the resources from this incredible session. And also be on the lookout in your email for an overall conference evaluation a few days following NAF Next. You'll also be excited to know that these sessions will be available for a year for you to watch again or to share with colleagues that may be in another session or were unable to attend NAF Next 2020. We hope to see you at NAF Next 2021 in Phoenix. Thanks again for joining us, and it's an honor to support each of you and together strive to prepare all of our students to be future ready. Have a great day.